Hey guys, welcome back to the HPR Chronicles with Shakur and Smith.
Hello.
It's another Wednesday with us. It's a podcast about history, politics, and race from a cool perspective, from two cool brothers. We're going to try to break it down simple and plain so you guys can get it. We cover a lot of different subjects on those matters, history, politics, and race. I'm a filmmaker from Trinidad and Tobago, so I've traveled a lot. Always had a love for history and politics. Chris is a veteran of the Army Reserves. For all of our new listeners who haven't heard the spiel before, and Chris works for the VA, and he has a passion for history and politics. It's about truth. It's not pro any race, even though we're two brothers. It's just pro-truth, man. We just try to bring you guys the truth, and if the truth offends you, we're sorry, not sorry. As we always say. And last week we talked about the word cracker. Because we had talked about the word nigga before. So we thought it was only right. That was an interesting episode. It was funny too. We were laughing a lot.
Yeah.
So if some who didn't find it funny was sorry, not sorry.
Not sorry.
But it was funny. So today I think Chris is going to get the show going. I think he's talking about the American flag.
Yes.
And the symbolism. Because
the meanings and traditions.
The meanings and traditions. A lot of people don't know this stuff though, and it is a symbol, and symbols are powerful.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Let me move the table closer for all of our viewers on YouTube that could see us. Yeah, man. So we're gonna jump it off.
Okay.
And we're talking about the American flag
today. I'm gonna, like you said, talk about the United States flag and the meanings and traditions associated with it. Most people know that Betsy Ross made the first flag.
Who?
Betsy Ross.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Oh.
Hey, Betsy.
What most don't know, that other men and George Washington drew a version of the flag on parchment. So, so it's been like drawn, but she was the first one to make one.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And then, so history says that Betsy Ross was not thrilled to do it. Mm-hmm. And her response was, "I don't know, but I'll try." So.
Oh, okay.
So let's start with
as making it.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about the stars. Start with the stars. The number of stars has changed as states joined the Union. The last state to join was Hawaii in July 4th, 1960. So when it first started, there was 13, and then from there, as states joined, they added the 5-point star for each colony or state. The shape of the star was a unique decision because 6, 7, and 8-pointed stars were more commonplace than the 5-pointed star that was finally used. Mm-hmm. It is speculated that the 5-point star was used to differentiate the United States from Europe. Another theory is that for Betsy, when she was cutting 5-point star was much easier than those other ones. So
instead of a 7-point, they did a 5-point star.
Correct.
Got you.
Or 6 or 8.
Oh, so, yeah.
So no one knows for sure, but by using the 5-pointed star on the U.S. flag, that makes us United States, Americans. It makes us very unique. Next are the stripes. The stripes on the flag represents the first 13 colonies. The number of stripes has remained the same. However, the number of red and white stripes was not consistent until 1916. After that time, after that date or that year, all U.S. flags have 7 red and 6 white.
Okay.
There's one thought that it's more red instead of white, is so then that way the border isn't white, and then if the flag is somehow touching something, it's not dirty.
Oh,
or it doesn't, at least the white isn't dirty.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
So what do the stars represent again? The stripes are the 13 colonies.
The stars are the original 13 colonies.
Oh, the original 13 colonies.
Yeah. And then the stars are the number is the number of states that were part.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So in the beginning there was only 13, so they had 13 stars and they had the 13 stripes.
Okay.
And then as they added more, so like from 1777 to 1795 was only 13. from 1795 to 1818, you got 15. Kentucky and Vermont were added. I mean, I can go down the list,
stars.
but yeah, so more additional stars were added.
Right, as the states were added.
As the states were added.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So how many stars do they have on it now?
50.
Oh, seriously? For all the 50 states?
For all the 50 states.
Wow.
And
the
Washington,
stripes,
D.C.
all
is
the-
not counted because it's not a state. It's a
Right,
district.
which
Okay.
we got to do a podcast on.
Yeah.
But so the stripes represent the first 13 colonies. Then the stars represent the states that joined the Union.
Correct.
Okay.
So the first flag had 13 stars, but at that point they called them states.
Right.
So, well, or something like that. So the original 13 colonies are the stripes. The stars are for the amount of states we have.
Right.
Okay. So the colors of the flags has a meaning too behind it. You know, the red, white, and the blue. So red stands for courage, hardiness, and bloodshed. Courage because our country is based on the courage of separating from what we once knew. Courage of starting over. Courage of fighting for our freedom. Hardiness because our founding fathers believed our country will outlast the land that we came from. And finally, bloodshed to honor all those who lost their life for our freedom and our country. The white stands for purity and vigilance. Purity because our country is independent and is not corrupted by any other country. That's an interesting statement right there.
Yeah.
Next is vigilance because our country needs to be alert and careful in the choices we make. That's very interesting too. Anyway, blue stands for justice and perseverance. Justice because it is the basis of our country. Man, interesting statements.
Right.
And perseverance because although our nation is young, we will stand strong against all opposition.
Yeah, it is young.
Yeah.
Especially when you go travel overseas. For those who haven't gone, you see how much older the countries are overseas.
And not just even
America's
there,
the
but
new world.
if you even
Yeah,
go
even further.
South America, it's
even
still
further
going to
south.
be.
Yeah. It's all the new world on this side.
Correct. So why do we honor the U.S. flag? One of the main reasons we honor the flag is to pay respect to our country and the liberties that we have in the United States. I'm not going to go too much more out of that because I just want to talk about the flag right now. We can discuss the whole stand and all this stuff. But anyway, this means paying respect to those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. The most symbolic ways we pay respect is during funerals for police and military. It became a ritual to cover the casket of a deceased armed forces member, or public official in the 1700s during the Napoleonic Wars. That tradition is still being used to remind funeral attendees of the deceased's commitment and sacrifice. And then there are 3 ways an American flag can be shown during a burial. There's closed casket, something called half couch, and then full couch. And it's just more on how...
What's half couch and full couch?
So...
Closed casket obviously is in the casket. You don't even see it.
Correct. Closed casket. The flag should be arranged on the casket with the Union blue field at the head and over the left shoulder of the deceased. So it's more like how it's laid next to the person.
Okay, so it's outside, even though it's closed casket. I thought they meant like you don't even see it.
Yeah. So if it's laying on top, that's. But a lot. I'm not positive how this. Because it could be inside, and I just don't know. But I know that I've been to funerals where the casket is covered with the flag, and then you do something after. It's folded. One's presented to like the spouse or the family member, the mother, or the.
I've seen that on
remaining.
movies and stuff.
Yeah, the other ones, like I said, the half couch, that couch that's open, and the full couch. Those you can kind of look up. And you can read how the explanation of it all.
What's the half? Okay, you look. Okay, you.
Yeah. Okay. So half couch. The flag should be placed in 3 layers so that Union is the top fold by the open part of the casket to the deceased's left. So in other words, you're gonna take the flag and you're gonna fold it into 3s, and on the top will be the Union, which is the blue field. I believe so. And then a full couch, the flag should be laid in the traditional triangle shape, and placed in the middle portion on the head panel of the casket, cap right above the left shoulder of the deceased. So
Yeah,
I don't know if this helps.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to get what all the different folds were,
Sure.
because I've seen
Well,
it, and
there's
I
more
don't
to
know.
this.
I don't know that there was a thing like a
Yeah.
certain way they fold it.
Yeah.
For those, especially for the armed
I'll-
services and stuff,
and
you
I'll
see it more than
Get to
anywhere
that.
else.
Yeah. So, if you ever watch a flag being folded, it sounds, you may have noticed that it is done in a certain order. It is not random, but very purposeful.
Right.
The flag is folded so that only the blue and white stars can be seen. The red is not shown because it stands for bloodshed.
Right.
And we want to remember the person's perseverance and diligence, not the loss of the person.
Right.
So
Which I don't even know why they have the red bloodshed part of it anyway. Like, why does that have to be a part of the symbolism? But anyway,
I mean,
created it.
it kind of, when you.
But yet, when there's something that happens, they don't want to.
No.
Show that part of it.
But remember,
You know what I mean?
the red stands for the courage and hardiness of our
Right,
country.
as well, yeah.
So, and actually, when I did my research, I did look a couple different spots. One talked about the bloodshed, another one did not mention it.
okay.
So,
Gotcha.
kind of went with that one. So,
Gotcha.
but each fold has a meaning. So, fold number one, that's symbol of life. And if you, in grade school, I and some other guys, we were responsible for taking the flag out, putting it up, bringing it back down, and we folded everything. So, and I got to tell you, people watched, because I remember some other guys got in trouble and got kicked off, and then they picked other kids, for some reason it was just the boys that did it. But anyway,
Okay.
and we got I remember doing it and they explaining how you fold it, and this way, that way, and everything. So it's always comes out. So it's a triangle, and then the last end it tucks in underneath itself, so it's kind of just right there.
Yeah.
But the fold one, symbol of life. Fold two, symbol of belief in eternal life. Fold three, honor and remembrance of veterans. Fold four, symbol of our weaker nature. Fold five, tribute to the United States of America. Fold six, symbol of our hearts and devotion. Fold 7, tribute to the armed forces. Fold 8, for those who went into the valley of the shadow of death. Fold 9, tribute to womanhood and its giving and nurturing nature. Fold 10, tribute to our fathers who gave their sons to protect our land. Fold 11, dedication to Jews and represents the bottom of the seal of King David and King Solomon.
Wow.
Huh. That's very interesting. Fold 12 represents the Christian and glorifies God.
Interesting.
Interesting too. So, and then there is a section of law called the Flag Codes. That is a guideline on proper flag etiquette. And I'm just going to give some of the statutes. I checked that out. It's way too much to be trying to break it down. But here are some. And some of these I know from, like I said, when I was a flag boy. And others just from being in the military. So number one, you never let the flag touch the ground. And when I was in with my son, he did Cub Scouts, and you have the kids hold up the flag and everything, and they're small, and and you do your best, because I remember me and several fathers, we just was like, always don't let that flag just because of the honor of it, and he's military, it's more, and it's very big if you're a military person. Never let that flag touch the ground. Number two, not displaying the flag during unpleasant weather conditions. So if there's a storm out, the flag should not be out and being flown.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah. Hoisting the flag energetically and then lowering it ceremoniously. So it's just kind of how you're doing it. Number four, this one's kind of interesting. To never dip the flag in such a way as to bow, unless as a signal of duress. So it's almost like when you have it, you always keep it taut, tight. You fold, boom,
right.
and as you're
Never
folding,
it just
never loosens or something like that. So, The flag should never be embroidered, printed, or otherwise for any advertising purposes. The flag should never be used as a costume or athletic uniform, except for the patch used by military personnel or public servants and officials. Number 7, any flag that is worn, dirty, and when I say worn, like worn out, worn, dirty, or torn, should not be publicly displayed, but privately destroyed, and preferably it is burned. Again, with Cub Scouts, one of the things we did, we were on a camping trip. We did a ceremony of burning the flag. So we cut it. It was cut into strips. Each kid had each person had were able to get a section, and then you dropped it into the
Why did
campfire.
they do that?
Because it's just that's another way. Like, because you hear burning the flag is supposed to be illegal or not allowed. Well, you're not supposed to burn the whole flag, and if it's worn and tattered, you're gonna cut that up anyway. So
only if it's worn and tattered and stuff, you're allowed.
That's
to
when
burn
you're
it.
allowed to destroy it.
Gotcha. Interesting.
So that is my spiel on the American flag, United States.
That's interesting, man. Thanks. Yeah, I didn't know any of that stuff. I mean, I knew something about the colonies and the states, but I didn't know about all the flag etiquette. And
Oh
this,
yeah,
that, and the
and
other.
like I say, if anyone wants to definitely just check it out, it's a long thing, and then it breaks it down like what agencies must follow the flag codes. So like if your school, government buildings, if you're displaying, you're supposed to just do certain things and stuff.
And it's interesting when you were going over the part about what all the colors and stuff mean, because I remember one of the historians or one of the politicians saying that we shouldn't pledge allegiance to us, which we covered, and stuff like that, because of the meaning of it. They said it's too much bloodshed and injustice that represents that flag, and it shouldn't represent. It shouldn't represent us, at least people of color. I remember. I forgot who said it, but it was one.
Well, it doesn't represent us because
politician that
if you think it's representing. Well, one of the things, and I even felt this or thought about this, is how the red stands for courage. Wait, where did I write that? About the. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and while you look for that, even the thing about the 13 colonies, I mean, they actually have a symbol that represents them taking someone's land and committing genocide and stuff like that, and you know what I mean, destroying someone's,
And we weren't part of the original 13 colonies either. We were just brought over. Right.
But I'm saying, but the fact that they have something that represents the wrong that they did is interesting to me.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. Because what that means is nothing good. They went and
took land from
pillaged and killed and genocide and raped and caused disease and took land people, and they go, okay, we've done this. That's our flag that represents what we've done. You know what I'm trying to say?
I got it.
Yeah, and so I forgot. I forget who it was, listeners, but it was someone. One of our historians or politicians or someone was saying that shouldn't be something that people of color should represent or fly. If you own a home, you shouldn't have that in your yard or anything, because it means everything against your ancestors and your people.
Correct.
What that represents.
Well, if you think of it as representing our country, but then not everybody is equally represented, and that's what I think the big thing is. This is supposed to be meant for, like you say, our country, and yet there's still people not getting the full 100%.
And to me, they probably should have come up with a different flag with a different meaning that actually represents justice and perseverance for everybody and peace and harmony. And
I understand what you're saying,
because that's what they try and portray.
But see, the thing is,
in actuality, the flag is a direct representation of what they really mean. But look at all the meanings of
correct.
it.
At the time that it was made, it was not like black people were considered anything at that point.
Exactly.
So, do you think a country is going to change their flag after years of that? No,
that's true.
But
that's a good point.
The thing I take out of it is we should be striving. Okay, I don't like that term, "Make America Great Again."
Right.
But if if it had been just "Make America Great," or everyone should be equal.
Right.
Some like the point should be making it so that we're striving to where everyone's represented 100%.
Right.
Everyone's, everyone is equal. Everyone is represented, and that's not how this, But I take it as being
Right.
we've,
What's the year it was created again?
19. I don't have that fact up.
Okay. Because what I was going to say is, I mean, you just made a good point. When it was created, this is what was going on, and they just decided to just make it a direct representation of what was of the time.
Oh, 1717.
Right.
Would have been.
Exactly.
I mean, 1777 was
Right.
when it.
During slavery.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
but-
So that would represent.
Correct. But
Yeah.
but I guess my point is
my whole thing is, though, why keep that?
because the idea of
Yeah,
America is
exactly.
that the idea behind it. I mean, I get that we all can agree, we can all disagree that that's not how it is and that's not the original
Right.
way. But the whole objective is you come here to make a better life and to
Right.
strive to, it's supposed to be life, liberty, and justice for all. And
all,
so
right.
the thing is I take it as the flag, even though there's bad history of the country, the flag is meant to show where we should be and that we're all united under one.
No, I don't agree with you.
Well, that's what I said. You can disagree, but
and
the
see, this
objective
why I
is
disagree
to
with you.
make it that way. And you're saying it's not that. It was never meant that way. And I'm not.
Well,
and I'm
no,
saying
I'm not saying
it was
it was
meant to
never
be
meant
a
that
certain
way.
way. But now everyone needs to be. The people who were not included needs to just have more better representation. And that's other stuff. That's laws and
Right.
stuff. The flag can be one thing.
Right.
But
But,
the whole the laws that are being put into place are to make our country better. That's all.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I don't think that it wasn't meant that way. What I'm saying is, when it was created, there's a lot of injustice going on in the United States and genocide and stuff like that. So the flag was a direct representation of what was going on at the actual time. You know what I mean? And if you look at when that flag was created, I don't think they ever thought it would be any different. I mean, if you look at some of the history, they even wanted to send everybody back to Africa once slavery was abolished. And stuff
So
like that.
you're still trying to,
you know what I mean?
But no, I'm not going to agree with that because I take it as a different way, and maybe it's because I was
Which
born
part
out.
don't you agree with?
I don't agree that it should be changed. It is our flag, and the whole objective.
No, it's not my flag.
I said
you said it's our flag. It's not mine.
Our flag is in people who claim themselves to be part of the United States of America. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
my point is, it's what it should represent for all. And at the time, the flag was meant as a new country for those that left England. So they weren't, even though the slavery and stuff, I get all that. And I'm not trying to discredit or discount all that. They were fighting the English and they were creating their own country. So
Right.
that's the whole thing about it. It was the colonies, blah, blah, blah. But
Right.
some of the symbols, some of the stuff that they taught, it doesn't mention anything about someone. There's no oppression in this. The oppression is from the laws.
I know.
So
I'm just saying when it was
taking
created,
that
what was
symbol, the
going
flag.
on.
I
Yeah.
know people in other countries that have been, colonized or imperialized, whatever.
Yeah.
But under the name or the flag, a flag of a country, people like to burn it or destroy it or whatever because it represents way more to them, and obviously it does. But that's what I'm trying to say is if our country has laws that makes everyone equal and we do the right thing, then it could be what it's supposed to be.
If our country had
And
laws,
so that's the part that we as our citizens and as politicians
I'm asking
need
you to
to
clarify. So you're
Oh.
saying if the country had laws, say that again.
So no, the idea is to strive for a better
Right.
nation, and so that's all. That's just our flag of our nation. So I don't take none of the stuff that I've discussed was putting down any
people,
groups or
anything.
people.
Yeah, I understand that.
So that's
but yeah, and I get that. What I'm saying though is what it represents is not cool. And when it was created, the way in which they just represented this symbol in direct correlation to what was happening at the time in this country. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Which was nothing good. You know what I mean? So in other words, to like, so to me, it's almost like trying to say Thanksgiving is a good thing and it's not. You know what I'm saying? Because when it was created and they started calling it Thanksgiving, it meant everything bad, which is why people of color today, they don't like to call it Thanksgiving. They just call it, they like to call it, I forget, whatever, Friendsgiving or whatever they decided to call it. So that's basically what I'm saying. So the time the flag was actually created, it didn't represent anything good. The fact that they came here and took the land.
Well, I'm not
good.
going. You're never going to change history in that fact.
Right.
So
right.
No one's going back to any place.
So all I'm saying is that's why that historian or politician at the time said that it's not our flag, people of color, and we shouldn't represent it, pledge to it, or anything, because nothing that it represents benefits or signifies anything positive in any aspect for no one of color. Now the people not the people not of color, and even the crackers, you know what I'm saying? If they wanted to be their flag and they're hooraying about coming and taking people's land, that's great. And if this is what they want to fly, and that's what it means, all the states that they took, even the Louisiana Purchase, which we'll cover when we cover Haiti. You know what I'm saying? That's a deep story. You know what I mean? So when you look at all that stuff, if they want to hooray for that, that's great. All I'm simply saying is I understand why that historian said that. And if one day America did decide to change their ways, pay the reparations, apologize for what they did for slavery to that, and decide, you know what, guys, because of that, we're going to make amends and create something new that represents what we're trying to portray right now. That would be awesome.
Well,
because let me just say this, because even when and if that happens this great day, whether it's when your son or my daughter and our kids, whenever it's going to happen on that great day, it'll be great to have another symbol that everybody can pledge to and wave. And that's what I have to say in closing my podcast for today.
I still go back and say
that's what I'm point. You know what I'm saying?
There's nothing I read that did not exclude anyone. So
I'm just talking about what it represents.
Then that's what I'm saying. I'm giving you what my interpretation of the representation of it. It's not that about taking some land and all that other stuff. That's
exactly what it represents.
No, it doesn't, because I didn't bring up anything about it.
What is a colony? Define it right now. Let me look it up. Hold on, guys.
Regardless, you're changing the whole thing. Yeah, you are. Because I'm not. Because you are. I said it doesn't. I'm
talking about what the flag represents. You cannot deny what it represents.
The 13 colonies.
Hold on, guys. What is a colony? Hold on. Let's look it up. The flag represents 13 colonies. What is a colony in history? A country or area under the full or partial political control of another country, typically a distant one, and occupied by settlers from that country, which means the 7 colonies means the people that came from Europe and came and occupied this country, taken from settlers. That's what that shit means. I'm sorry I'm getting heated. You can't deny what it means, brother.
But there was
That's
nothing.
Exactly what it means. I don't care what you read. I'm talking about what it actually means.
And now I'm going to contradict you and say when they came here and they took land.
That's all I'm saying.
But they also just took land. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like
they did more than take land.
Well, over the history of time, over the history of time, they took land. But initially, over the history of time, they took.
Right.
But when they first took off,
America was occupied.
Hold up. So
that's what the flag means. I mean, that's what it is.
So when you say, wait, huh?
I don't understand your point. I don't understand what you're arguing. What I'm saying is the American flag as we know it, the 7 colonies and the states. Those 7 colonies, the 13 colonies, represents what some settlers came to this country and did, which was wrong against the people that was here. That's all I'm saying. That's what that shit represents, bro.
So there could have
whether
been
you want to admit it or not.
Again,
that's what it represents. I don't understand what the argument is.
Well,
you're saying that shit does not mean ice cream and cake, guys. It does not mean coming here, sharing land, going, hey, guys, nice to meet you. We're going to come help you build this place. Let's share in profits. And forget slavery. Everything that flag represents is injustice, murder, blood, everything. That's what it represents. That's what the colors, that's what it means, those 13 colonies. That's all I'm saying.
You're taking it to an extreme.
No,
that's
I'm just telling you what it represents. Okay,
that's your representation.
It's not my representation.
It is, because it's not
facts.
what it's.
What does it mean then?
Goodness, it's not. You saying the red, white, and blue is
no,
all
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
you saying the flag of overall is nothing but blood and destruction.
No, what is the colony?
So, because that's everybody, almost every country in the whole
United. I don't care about the other country. We're talking about the United States. Don't divert.
Well, okay. Okay.
You know what he sounds like to me now? Those white people, when you talk to them about our history, and then they start to divert. We're not talking about the other countries. You presented the American flag.
Correct. And you're saying that they did something so terrible, and you act like no one's ever done that.
I'm not talking about the other people.
I got it. I'm not. So don't ever just try to put me and lump me with like that, like you did before. I'm just saying. Because it was other countries that had it. Because you talk about the Louisiana Purchase, and obviously we got the land from someone else. But anyway, my thing is, the flag was a representation of those colonies, yes, and that they and they could have come over here, and obviously it didn't happen the way it's all peachy keen, history goes, but like I said, to the victors, the spoils, or whatever. Yeah. But anyway.
Thank you. That's all I said.
There you go.
Now you came back to my point. That's all I said.
I'm not disagreeing with all that stuff, but you're like, the flag is like when they made it, they were meaning to do such bad things.
No.
And I'm saying, okay, maybe
go back and listen to the tape. What I said was, it's a direct representation of what was happening of the time. That's what I said. Which was blase. Okay.
Well, we'll have to do some more history on maybe the 13 colonies and how they took over the land and stuff like that.
Let's do that stuff. We can cover it, the first 13 colonies.
That sounds great.
Cool.
Simple, supposed to be short discussion.
No, but it's good if we disagree. So I think it's great. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I was in the military.
I know, and that's probably why he's a little sensitive to it, because he was in the military. And now I'm throwing shade. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, guys. Are you done? That's it. All right, guys. Thanks for checking in, man. Don't forget to subscribe, ICT Group Digital. We're not going to do a separate, subscribe video like everybody else does. We're just going to say subscribe.
Yes,
thanks for all of our listeners. rptalktruth@gmail.com. This is an interesting subject, guys. As you can see, it got a little heated. Some of you may agree with Chris being like, hey, the flag is a flag. Some of you may think what I think on it, that it represents some BS, and I'll never look at it as my flag because of where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm definitely going to promote this episode. Tell us what you think. Leave your comments. I'd love to hear some of your feedback like you did on the N-word. Mm-hmm. And let's just see if we can learn something there. But thank Chris for his presentation of the flag. Like I said, I didn't know some of that stuff about the etiquette and all that stuff. So it's all great stuff to learn. Another thing I love about this podcast. You know what I'm saying? So thanks for checking in. We're always cool. Don't ever think we're upset with each other. It's just all in the name of podcasting and getting information out to you guys. So happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. We'll see you guys. Before we go, today in history. I almost forgot. Hold on, guys. Today in history. Let me give this to you real quick. Then you can go about your day. So August 7th, man, in 1789, the U.S. War Department was established by the U.S. Congress. That's interesting. In 1782, we're talking about around the same time that damn flag was created, too. 17-something. Look at that.
It could be 18-something. He'll still be around the same time. 1777. 1780. Yeah.
1782. George Washington created the Order of the Purple Heart, which is interesting. You always see the presidents giving out Purple Hearts for people to do stuff in the service and stuff like that. So August 7th, 1782, George Washington created the Order of the Purple Heart. That's interesting. In 1888, Theophilus Van Cannell received a patent for the revolving door. So when when we go to BJ's, the door revolves and stuff. People just walk through. That's interesting. And in 1914, Germany invaded France on August 7th. It's another interesting fact. Yeah, guys. So like I said, stay tuned for the end of the show for Today in History. You could learn something, tell your kids, tell your friends. You guys could talk about it. And yeah, thanks for checking into the HPR Chronicles with Shakur and Smith. And don't fly that flag. Peace.
Fly it.